Okay, and we're ready to go with Texas Women's University. This is Miss Melissa Rodriguez. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will wrap up with Ms. Rodriguez's presentation. She's the last presentation of the day. We want to thank you again, students, for sticking with us and joining in this morning and learning about the universities, and certainly thanking Ms. Rodriguez for coming and sharing with us today. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, everyone. Good morning. I'm Melissa Rodriguez. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions for Texas Women's University. So straight off the bat, if you haven't heard about TWU, we're going to go over lots of unique things about us, interesting things, just kind of the general information. And then I do have a little code that you can use for QR code reader that you can take a picture of, and then that way you'll start getting on our emails and information. That'll be at the end. So getting started with Texas Women's University, very first thing that people will assume about TWU if they haven't heard about us before is that we're an all-women's school. Actually, we are the largest institution primarily for females, but not only for women. So we are 12% gentlemen. We have our mascot. It is Oakley, the Texas barn owl. He's sprinkled throughout the presentation. You'll see him once in a while. Some very cool facts that I love sharing is the fact that we're tied 6th in the nation for diversity, which is a big deal for us. And we are ranked number 2 in Texas for maximum students earning potential. So when we talk about return on investment, right? You are putting in time, money, effort into your higher education, and you're going to want something back for putting all that into it, right? So that piece of paper at the end of the day at TWU actually carries a lot of weight. So where are we located? We are actually neighbors with my colleague Jillian with University of North Texas. So we are sharing the town of Denton. So we've heard a little bit about Denton already, so I won't talk too much about it, but that's where our main campus is located. It's a beautiful location, and all of our programs, or most undergraduate programs, are going to be offered in the main campus. So sometimes students have seen the Houston campus, or they've heard of the Houston campus, and kind of assume that they'll be able to do all 4 years there. It actually has a different kind of process in how it works. So the main campus in Denton, Texas is going to be for the majority of our programs. So if you're interested in pre-med, in psychology, in criminal justice, in nutrition, things like that, you'd be doing all 4 years in the main campus. Now, if you were looking to do nursing, we're actually known for our nursing program. It's a really excellent program. You would do something a little different. You would actually do the first 2 years in the main campus in Denton, Texas, and you do the last 2 years in Dallas or in Houston, hopefully Houston, because that's where I hang out. And the way it works for nursing is that you will do your full-on nursing courses when you hit those 2 health science centers. So you'll be able to do specific, information for like specific nursing courses, but then also your clinicals. So clinicals won't start day 1, but they will start semester 1. So things to be prepared for and look forward to. Now, also things that are offered at the Dallas and Houston campus are going to be graduate programs. So when we talk about graduate studies, it's a little different, right? So undergraduate, what am I talking about? That's going to be things like associate's degrees, bachelor's degrees, certificates, things that's going to be undergraduate level, right? And then when I talk about graduate level, that means you've already finished your undergrad work, or you've finished the 4-year degree. Now you can move forward for a graduate program. So one example of that might be, physical therapy or occupational therapy. Those are graduate level programs, and those are programs that we offer at the health science centers. So talking a little bit more about our programs. I went a little bit over on information on nursing, but how about we talk a little bit about nutrition? I love to talk about this program called food chemistry. So students are always kind of interested in how that one works. So I like to give the example of, like, when we have a bag of Skittles or, some kind of candy, right? That candy, even though it tastes like fruit, we know we're not eating fruit, right? but it was a flavor chemist that figured out what were going to be the different components and chemicals that were going to kind of trick our brain into thinking that orange circle actually tastes like an orange. So this is something that's really cool that we offer. For education, that program actually we offer the Triple Crown. So somebody is going to be able to do interdisciplinary studies. They can pick bilingual or ESL, and they could do special education. So you have the opportunity to do all of those 3 options within your 4 years at TWU with your bachelor's degree. So it's really great. Again, bringing it all back to that ROI, right? That return on investment. And then speaking of ROI, for my friends who are looking into business, our business programs are really stellar. We have a college of business, and we're actually known for our different opportunities for our MBA programs. So hopefully you'll do different kind of business opportunities, but then you'll continue on with us and do a full MBA fully online. And we've added some different kind of opportunities. So, healthcare administration could be added onto it, and things like women in business. So it's really exciting things that we're doing. Now, health sciences, I love to talk about this picture right there. So in the bottom left, you're actually seeing students work for physical therapy. So our physical therapy and occupational therapy programs are very competitive, similar to our nursing. So competitive means that we have a lot of applicants who are going into those programs. So definitely admissions counselors are going to be able to help you kind of map how do you get to that next step and how do you go to those programs. So both occupational therapy and physical therapy are entry-level doctorates. So to get to those programs, you don't need a master's. So remember, we were talking about like the differences between undergrad and grad. So undergrad was going to be anything from the bachelor's or less, but then master's, doctoral, PhD, that's going to be graduate level work. So entry-level doctorates do not require master's degree. They only require a bachelor's degree, but they require certain courses, prerequisites, and exams. But they're really awesome programs that actually fulfill a lot of the interest people have with helping others. Also moving on, we've got music. We actually have a program called music therapy. So a lot of times I'll talk to somebody who's interested in psychology, but they want to use their talent. So something like music therapy, and maybe even with a minor in psychology, is a really cool program to look into. Of course, we have visual arts and performing arts. Our dance program actually goes all the way up to a PhD. So you could be a doctor of dance. So talking a little bit about an admission to TWU, we do based on your ranking. So if you're in the top 25, then you have assured admission. If it's top 50, then we'll need a 1080 on the SAT or 21 the ACT. Of course, keeping in mind everything that's going on related to the pandemic and the availability of testing and things like that. So we are definitely shifting and pivoting as needed. However, if you have the opportunity to take those exams, we encourage it because definitely it's going to help when it goes to those scholarship opportunities as well. So see to look into the opportunity of taking tests if you can. And then if we don't have that information, but we're very close, it might go into individual review. So you might have heard some of my colleagues mentioned earlier, the fact of essays and things like that. Now, we don't necessarily need an essay. We're on Apply Texas, and even though it has that option, it's not necessarily required unless it's going to help. So let's say that, there's a situation where you're just not sure you meet that requirement and you're iffy about it, besides talking to an admissions counselor, which we're more than happy to help you. But you could always add additional information. So if you want to explain why there was this dip in courses this day for a certain reason, then feel free to do that. If there's a letter from a counselor, it's going to help, give us more information that we're not getting from your admission file. Consider that as well. Of course, we love all the extra courses that you take. We love some dual credit. Of course, we'll take a C or higher. The one thing I do say, if you do take dual credit, is definitely to make sure that you're sticking to some basics and some core. That's going to be ideal. That's what we're looking for, because we want to do all the heavy hitters with you. We want you to take the courses that are going to be those higher level courses with us. And making sure you're not necessarily overwhelming your plate, right? Because sometimes If you're trying to do juggle a whole lot of things, if you're ending up having to take a whole lot of courses online, that could be stressful too. So those are things that you want to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success. So keeping an eye out on your grades, making sure that they're strong, is going to help, because that grade is going to satisfy whatever requirement for your degree plan. Now, if you took a course that was really, really awesome, but not necessarily falling within a degree plan, it might transfer, especially we're a public institution in Texas. So we're going to transfer over some credits from places you might be doing dual credit from. So, we have articulation agreements, Lone Star, HCC. So yes, it'll come over, it'll transfer, but will it be used for something? Will it satisfy a requirement for your degree plan? Question mark. So that, again, that's why I say kind of sticking to the basics and the core is going to be your best bet. Of course, we're going to take advanced placement, looking for a 3 or higher. In that case, we're taking it more as it's satisfying a requirement. So the grade doesn't necessarily come in. And I don't think we need to talk too much about IB. Excuse me. So talked already about Apply Texas. I would say I'd like to give you kind of some general information as well besides just TWU. When you're deciding on applying to places, if you've already started the process, definitely take ownership of it. Make sure that you feel organized, prepared, you know what you're doing next. You're not surprised, you're not nervous about it because you've taken control, right? And that's the best thing to do when it comes to the college process. So if we're on Apply Texas and maybe you're applying to 2 other schools who are on Apply Texas, you might not want to do them all in one day. It gets really kind of tedious putting in the same information over and over again. And that's when it's real easy to transpose numbers, like switch your date of birth. And then it gets really tricky when you're trying to contact the schools and get your status. So probably it's a good idea to stay one day applying to that one school, and then keeping a list of all the things that are needed, right? So if you keep yourself organized, the email that you gave the school is going to be an email that you check, right? You don't want to be like, you made a college one, which I recommend you do, but you're making sure you're checking it. So don't be like, oh, it's March 1st, let me go check that email, and then you have like a bunch of different emails from all these colleges. You want to make sure you're checking them. If it's something you're not going to check, you could actually forward that email to another email. So there's a way to do that too. So again, organized and control. Application fees add up. So, if you're applying to like 5 schools, for example, that's not necessarily the number you'll pick, but 5 schools, $50, $25, $75 application fees, that can add up. So again, keeping it in order, know when you have to get them done by, when do you, can they go towards your tuition, things like that, keep in your back of your mind so that way you are prepared. Also, would you be eligible for a fee waiver? There's different ways to find out if you, TWU will take the ACT or the SAT College Board fee waiver. And if you're eligible, make sure you do it. There's actually a form on our website that they can be uploaded to. And then of course, submitting your official transcripts, SAT or ACT scores if you have them. What'll happen is once you start applying, then you'll start hearing from the schools, and schools will say, hey, looks like you're missing this, looks like you're missing that, because we want to get your application going to get you through the next step. So talking about admissions, when you are applying to different schools, you're going to probably get different kind of portals. So different kind of systems. Again, probably keeping the same password would be helpful, but your username is going to change each time, right? So it's going to be, for TWU, be your first initial, your last name, a number, at twu.edu. It might be different for the other schools that you're applying to. Keeping that in order and then checking them. So every once in a while, checking your status, see what's missing. If it's something you sent out like a million years ago, then maybe, picking up the phone, finding out, hey, where's my stuff? I think I sent it a long time ago. So that way you know what's missing and you know what to do next. And that's just information on how to open it. So we always get questions on living on campus. So we have a brand new facility. It's only 1 year old. It's Parliament Village, and it's only for first year. So you're definitely going to have a great opportunity to get involved on campus. We have living learning communities. So if you are live and breathe nursing, then you can live with other nurses. If you are nursing, but you are totally done with hearing about nursing, but you love music, you can live with the music majors. So, or people with music interests. So definitely something to look into. A lot of students, that's really popular. So if you are interested in participating in a living learning community, just make sure that you do those applications early so that right when the housing application opens, which is typically around November, you're ready to just jump in and do the application. They're experimenting with different ways to make sure that you're matched with somebody who's very similar to you, you know, and how you both, you know, are able to live together so that you are compatible. So they have different kind of testing you can do. Even if, let's say, you and a friend want to dorm together because you're coming from the same high school, you can actually request each other too. So we definitely want to make it so that it's enjoyable experience for you as well. And yes, you are required to live on campus the first 2 years. We're a university, so we like to do research and came up with the idea that students who live on campus tend to get better grades. So when it comes to the budget, we typically tell you $21,000 for an academic year. So this does not involve everything you're giving to TWU, but we do want you to be very prepared. So for the in-state tuition and fees, using the $9,480. Textbooks, you know, that's an estimate. There's lots of different ways to get textbooks, and room and board. So that's the most expensive room and board. We wouldn't want to put the cheapest one. We don't know if you are an athlete and have to have a certain meal plan and a certain living arrangement, right? But that can vary. And then transportation and other expenses. You have to decide, am I going to drive down on the weekends to Houston or to Spring to see my family? Or am I going to do that maybe once a month? And then how am I going to get to campus? You know, am I going to, you know, use the train and things like that? Okay, so financial aid, I will try not to go on a long rant about it, but I definitely want you to keep financial aid in mind. This will open up for you in October. So probably October 1 is not when you want to be on there because it crashes. Everybody's jumping in and doing them. You want to do it as early as possible. So the first, second week of October, start working on it. You know, there's FAFSA, there's TASFA. If you're not eligible for federal, then you might be eligible for state aid. Making sure that you're putting in those applications, submitting what might be needed. Always keeping an eye out on what might be missing. A lot of times too, we'll hear things like, oh, you know, loans are so bad, right? So somebody who maybe an older sibling or family member is like, oh, no loans. Well, here's the thing, it's a little different now. So like a million years ago when I was in school, you know, my promissory note, which was the note I needed to say that I was going to pay my financial aid loans back, it was a piece of paper and I signed it and I got a copy. Who knows where that copy went? But the original went into a file cabinet in the financial aid office, never to be seen again because I didn't go back to the financial aid office to look at that note. However, after the 4 years, thankfully I was aware of how much I had owed or, you know, had taken out for the loans. So similar idea. Difference is instead of it living in a file cabinet somewhere on campus, for you, it lives in your cell phone. You're able to go into your smartphone, you're able to go into your computer and look at it every semester and be aware of it and have absolutely no surprises. The surprises come when you kind of don't want to know. Like, I don't want to know how much I'm taking out. I'll worry about that in 4 years. We don't want you to do that. We want you to do it early. Remember, it's the same idea I said earlier, being organized, being prepared, you know, being aware of all the things, right? So that's my rant on FAFSA. Okay, so scholarships, similar idea, you're doing them early. If it opens in October for FAFSA, and then the priority deadline is January, you are not doing anything in January for financial aid. Similar idea for scholarships. If it opens in July, but the deadline is March, you're not doing anything near March because we've done it early, right? We've done it right when they opened up. So right now we're in August. It's not like we're late, we're right on time. So we're doing the application system, and I'll show you a timeline in a minute, but definitely not going into those deadlines. So you'll be surprised how many people will call or email and ask me the deadline for financial aid, or actually the deadline for scholarships on March 16th. And I have to say it was yesterday, but you can still apply. But the earlier you do things, the better, because the university is going to award as it goes. It's not going to wait for the deadline. So it is doing our general scholarship system. You'll see very general questions. You'll go back into the system later when it invites you to look at very specific scholarships. Now, a long list that if you went to our website was shrunk down, and the ones that are shrunk down are the ones that you're eligible for. So you're not applying for anything that you wouldn't actually be eligible for, not wasting any time. This is the great time for those essays. This is a great time for those letters of recommendation. That's what we want to make sure we're keeping an eye out on. So you can look on the left-hand side for first-year students. These are just a snapshot, but if you go to our website, you'll see a full listing of different opportunities for students. So a lot of them are renewable, a lot of them are stackable. So definitely look into opportunities. When it comes to outside scholarships, those are scholarships that are not within the university. You know, you can research plenty of different opportunities. Make sure that they're real sources. You know, if they're asking for your credit card information, might be something you want to run past your counselors. Like, is this a real, you know, a real scholarship? There's a lot of different opportunities out there. I did a scholarship to a makeup company and I got $500 just for trying. So make sure you do all the scholarships you can for both inside the institutions and outside. The very worst you can hear is no. And they're usually going to tell you it very politely. So there's nothing to lose for applying. The university has plenty of student services. So, you know, we have a lot of opportunities to make sure that you are going to be successful at TWU, engaged, having fun, learning, growing. You know, in 4 years, we want you to have had a great experience. So one of the things I'm going to tell you right now, make sure you get involved, make sure you are a part. You know, if it's going to be academic wise, maybe it might be an organization, maybe by a sorority or fraternity, but getting involved is going to be really great for you in the long run. So that way you're able to look back in your years and be like, okay, I really was able to get my degree and my experience. When it comes to student life, there's like a lot of opportunities for you. So there's definitely going to be some study abroad opportunities. The Fit and Rec has a full-size swimming pool, a rock wall. Definitely things that you can be a part of. Our diversity and inclusion program actually has a department on campus, as I mentioned before, tied 6th in the nation for diversity. So we have an entire department that actually does a lot of outreach opportunities, and both in the community and out of the community and inside the university. So if you want to be a part of that, I definitely encourage you, and I definitely encourage you to go to our website and learn more about it. So we are NCAA Division II for those specific sports. They are all female sports at the moment, especially with our population being mostly female. So we do have an intercollegiate dance team, and they are pretty awesome. They won their very first year of having formed. So if that's something that you are interested in, definitely consider. So this is our timeline, and I alluded to a little bit earlier before. We are going to make sure that we are setting ourselves up for success. We are organized, we are prepared, we are in control. So we are applying to schools. We're doing that in the summer, the beginning of the fall, right? So Apply Texas for TWU. Maybe another institution has, you know, common application. Maybe another institution, you know, has their own private application system. We're making sure that we are going to give all the information that we need and all the items. We are collecting our yeses and then deciding where we're going to give our yes and where we're going to attend. We're going to take care of the scholarship application, financial aid applications. We're not doing that anywhere near the deadlines. We're going to do them pretty close to when they open. Similar idea for housing. You know, when anything's popular, you want to be one of the first ones to do it. So if it opens up fall, November-ish, you want to make sure you're jumping in there, taking care of it. You're going to attend a Pioneer Preview Day. Hopefully in the spring, they'll be face-to-face, but if not, we will have an awesome virtual event and it will be great, and we'll be sure to invite you. And then we don't have a deposit. Orientation is basically your stamp of saying, I'm coming to TWU. I definitely recommend that you meet with one of us. You can meet with an admissions counselor virtually, either by, if you have a Gmail account, then you're able to do a meet that way virtually, or you're able to meet over the phone, or you can hang out in one of our Houston coffee chats. This is going to be for Houston area people interested in TWU, and our admissions counselor, Jenny, hosts those, and it's several times throughout the summer. All right, if you have your phone and you'd like to take a picture or use the QR code, this will put you on our mailing list, so you'll get invitations and updates to TWU and virtual invites for the events that we're having in the fall. It would be going to, in the event name, you're just going to put Spring 08/06/2020, and then you would put my name under the person. But thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you, and see if anybody has any questions. And then here's some of our social media, and of course, like I mentioned, it will be Oakley.
Okay. Thank you so much, Melissa. We appreciate your presentation. Students, please be sure and get Ms. Rodriguez's information. If you can put your contact information once again in the chat, Melissa, we'd appreciate it. I just want to make sure that students get that information in case they want to send you some questions that they thought of a little later or something to that effect. They can contact you later. Again, students, we will have this ready and available on our website this week, the College and Career Readiness website under the Summer Bridge program. With that said, I want to go ahead and close out the presentation. Thank you so much to Texas State, University of North Texas, and Texas Women's College, Kelly, Jillian, Melissa, and Sienna. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate the students for volunteering to come in and have a listen, and we'll have more of these type of presentations throughout the year. We'll be looking forward to it. So thank you all again, and have a good afternoon.